All right, welcome to Bayou Time. Joining me now, the Chief of Police of Houma, Chief Dana Coleman. Chief, good to see you.
Same here. Thank you for having me.
I know y'all have been busy with the shootings at the TGS and also St. Francis. You have a lot of updates, so why don't we start with the St. Francis, the sales shooting, if we could. Could you give us an update on that one?
Well, what I would like to update is last week, last Thursday evening, we apprehended our suspect that was wanted in connection with the attempted first-degree murder of the grandmother who was picking up her kids at St. Francis, Jamaine Dotch. He was taken into custody. One thing I would like to compliment is working in connection with Crime Stoppers. Just recently, we did a meeting with Crime Stoppers where the reward went from $1,000 to $3,000. And I mean, our community came together. Our community had came together already at the beginning of it, but they came together even more so when that reward was up to $3,000, and Jamaine Dotch just ran out of areas where he could lay his head.
Right. This is something y'all worked on around the clock. How much manpower went into it, and then when it came time to make the arrest, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Lots of manpower hours went into it. I mean, ever since this incident occurred, we've been working around the clock with people within our local community to try to find his location and take him into custody. But what happened was we received a Crime Stoppers tip on a possible location of Jamaine Dotch. We had detectives and agents already out working. So once we received the tip, we converged on that area. We started looking at characteristics of people in that area that coincide with the Crime Stoppers tip that we had. And we had one gentleman that was walking in that area. So when our officers tried to make contact with him, he took off running into a wooded area at the end of Morgan Street. And when he took off and went into that wooded area, we surrounded the area. We did call outs for him to come out. We had K9 on scene, and once those K9s started amping up barking, I mean, he voluntarily came out. And one lucky thing that I would like to add is that when we apprehended Jamaine Dotch, once we had him in custody, we searched the area where he ran, and we did find a weapon.
Okay. Was it the matching weapon?
Well, we don't know if it's the matching weapon yet. It's going to be sent off to the State Police Crime Lab for ballistics. But he was in fact armed with a semi-automatic pistol, and that was recovered as well.
So he was maybe thinking about doing business again.
Don't know, but I mean, we're always cautious, and I'm just happy that for our law enforcement, officers that was on scene as well as him, that this resulted in a peaceful manner.
Yeah, and I know the St. Francis community probably thanks you as well, because it's a load off their mind as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Let's switch gears, Chief, if we can. Last week at the TGS convenience store, another shooting. So y'all were busy there too. Can you bring us up to speed on that one?
Correct. Around 2:30, our officers responded to a shooting. I know it's TGS, but we always commonly refer to it as the BP gas station. But they responded to a shooting. During investigation, we learned that 2 cars of individuals were involved in an altercation, which led to the death of Sequoia Williams. Through our investigation, our personnel, as you can see on the footage, responded quickly. One odd thing that once we responded was that a gentleman emerged from the convenience store claiming that he was responsible for the death of Mr. Williams. We don't usually get that too often. Yeah. But as our investigation continued, we secured some video surveillance what depicted what occurred at the gas station. And what occurred was that Mr. Williams exited a vehicle. He was in fact armed with a weapon. He started what we refer to as pistol whipping another gentleman with the weapon. They ended up on the ground. Mr. Williams was on top of him still, hitting him with the firearm. And another gentleman emerged from a pickup truck. And there's no sound, but he emerged from the pickup truck. Mr. Williams was still hitting the individual with the weapon, and the other individual fired shots, which caused the death of Mr. Williams.
And you're right. You don't always get a case where somebody calls the police on themselves, surrenders the pistol. Does that make a difference when you're looking into might happen previous to the argument on what you charge him with?
Correct. It does make a difference, but one thing I want everybody to understand, and this investigation is still ongoing. After this gentleman shot Mr. Williams, he walked into the store, he set the weapon on the counter, he raised his hands, he told them he was responsible for what occurred outside, and he waited till the police got there. And when our personnel arrived, he came out, he adhered to the instructions of our personnel, he laid on the ground, he was fully cooperative. They took him into custody, brought him to our office, he cooperated, conducted, an interview with him where he fully cooperated. At that point, based on what we had at the time, we decided not to arrest the individual. But one thing that I want everyone to understand, that this is an ongoing investigation. Just because he wasn't arrested that day doesn't mean he can't get arrested at a later time. It's still an active investigation. Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate the work you do, Chief, and all you men and women. Y'all been pretty busy lately.
Been pretty busy. In closing, I just want to thank Crime Stoppers, for working diligently with us. And I also want to, give a shout out to our law enforcement partners, as well as the St. Francis community, who worked hand in hand with us on the investigation that occurred near their school.
All right, Chief, keep up the great work. We appreciate you as always, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
All right, the Chief, Dana Coleman. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with a lot more here on Bayou Time. Don't go away.